You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome in and welcome all. The Insight NFL show is back, and we're doing a little bit different, tonight, this Monday. We're shaking things up a little bit, keeping it fresh, keeping it sexy. We've got a real cash league draft going on tonight, and even better, there's us three are all drafting, which will be can't wait for that chaos on a 90-second clock. And also DFAB, who is unfortunately unwell tonight, can't join us. I think he's just a little bit worried about how he's going to go drafting with a 90-second timer, if I do say so myself. But guys, Monday, August 25th, we finished our last preseason week of games, and there wasn't really too much going on. We touched on our preseason week 3 preview, but I'll throw it to you, Secko. Mate, the Chiefs, Patty Mahomes, he got a run in the preseason. How was that looking?
Yeah, he pretty much actually played almost the entire first half, which was awesome. I think he got 4 drives. They kept having sort of pretty long drives. He was on fire. He ended up 100. I think he played about a quarter and a half. Ended up about 150 yards and a touchdown and a couple of big drops as well. He looks like he's back a bit. He looked like he had the sort of downfield. The Patty Mahomes we sort of knew from 2022 and 21. It was actually looking first read looked like it was downfield a bit more than it has been the last 2. So, of course, it's preseason. We don't know. But I'm thinking that, this could be the season that I was off in the last couple of years and their defense is playing too well and you could see their game plan reverting. But I think this year is a chance that he's going to be, especially while Rashee Rice is out there, hopefully his suspension's short enough that it doesn't impact too much. But yeah, he's looking like he's ready to go. And I think last year's Super Bowl loss might have been a massive motivation over the summer.
Yeah, and I see Travis Kelce, who's lost a lot of weight. He reckons he's not happy with how things have gone, and which is, of course, pretty clear to say when you get absolutely spanked in the Super Bowl, but like that. But Mav, are you keen for looking at Mahomes? The last time that we saw him as an elite option was 2022. Finished as the quarterback 1, 41 passing touchdowns, added 4 on the ground, and over 5,000 yards passing. How good would that be for fantasy if Mahomes got back to that, field stretch of big play guy that we've seen him do before?
Yeah, I haven't really taken him yet in a redraft league. I do own him in 2 dynasty leagues and have held him for a while. Look, I'm not massive on Mahomes, I might add. If he drops, then cool, no problem. But I'm not going to be taking him in the second round. Otherwise, I just don't know. They don't need him to dominate for them to win games anymore. He can just do enough. He can manage the game. He's still freakish in what he can do. Don't get me wrong. He'll still have some plays where he just dominates. But all in all, it's just not the same Patrick Mahomes fantasy-wise that we've seen, that we know him of. In his serious prime. I guess he's still in his prime. But yeah, in his fantasy prime, I don't think he'll get back to that form ever again. But again, it's hard to be the number 1 QB fantasy-wise in so many years. Like it's just hard to be that guy. So you always have different options along the years. You see Josh Allen, he'll be there for the next few, and then you have obviously Lamar at the moment as well. Then you'll have Jaden Daniels, who's who knows what that could be, and you'll have more QBs coming through, I suppose, that will get back on top. But I've sort of I have sort of been avoiding him, but he could be good value if he does get back to any sort of form.
I mean, looking at it now, though, QB6, like there's just the cost. He finishes the quarterback 11 last year, quarterback 8 the year before. So we're drafting him well above of his floor, QB6, and we need all things to go right. And yeah, we've just been very, very dissatisfied the last couple of years. I mean, hell, it'd be great, but there's not real much of a discount in redrafts this year. And it'll be curious to see with this one tonight, because it is a SuperFLEX, our live cash league. So it'll be interesting to see where Patty Mahomes kind of falls in line with those picks there. But before we kind of get into things, just to run off a couple of things. Yeah, so no mock draft tonight. We won't have one this week, but tomorrow night we will have my team reveal. And a little bit nervous, a lot more nervous than what the draft will be tonight. Following Secko and Mavs as well. It's just very, very hard to compete. But that'll be me tomorrow night. And also later in the week, we've got our Insight Creators NFL Redraft League. So very similar to tonight. We'll have a live draft streamed, but it'll be all the Insight creators from across all sports. We'll have Whisperer, Matrix, Braino, Horse, all of us will all be here and drafting as well. So that'll be a good one. And I'm sure we'll have little segments throughout the year, kind of just showing a bit of banter and a couple of questionable trades, to say the least in that regard. But before we jump in, we will kind of run through a few little injuries. The draft is kicking off at 7:45. So we've got a few numbers here filling up. Not as many green dots as I'd hope, but hopefully that all goes green by the time 7:45 hits us. But little bit of an injury blitz and kind of an update, I guess, on a couple of players that we may have been a little bit optimistic of, but things are still, we're a couple of weeks out of the season start and it's not looking good. But we'll start off with Joe Mixon. The latest reports is coming out that he could start the year on the PUP, and that was a big question mark through really the last few weeks. He's going to miss extended time. There's been no legitimacy on anything. It's all just been a big question. Mav, with Mixon looking to start the year on PUP, I mean, even at the moment, again, another one to kind of see where he falls in this draft, but is he just off your board at this point, or are you willing to take him if the discount is right?
Yeah, he's off my board completely, to be honest with you, mate. I have been pivoting and taking Nick Chubb late. He doesn't really cost much at the moment. He's going like the second last round in fantasy at the moment. So again, you're not really sort of investing high draft capital in him, but you could get some good return out of him. Look, I don't expect him to be an RB1 by any stretch, but if he's getting goal line carries and first downs, that's sort of all I need him for. So a player in for bye weeks or injuries as such, yet he's in. But Joe Mixon, I wouldn't even take him in the 8th, 9th, 10th round. There is legitimately no timetable. They don't even know. Yeah, it's just so risky. Look, in an IR league, and I believe this one is an IR league. It's got one spot. Look, there's probably a world where you can take him and stash him on your IR. It's not awful if you get him late, but outside of that, I'm not too into him.
Like maybe if you pick up Mixon, chuck him in IR, and Woody Marks or Nick Chubb are out there on waivers, maybe that's a little pairing that you can do and fill that spot in. But moving on to the next one here, Secko, Chris Godwin. All reports, I thought black and blue, he was starting on the PUP, but it comes out saying that they're not. They're going to let him kind of slowly work his way back into things, even though he won't be fully healthy by season start, maybe a week 2 or week 3 start. With this on Chris Godwin, same thing for you that I asked Maverick on Joe Mixon. Is he kind of on your board? Are you playing that if you get him at a discount, throw him on IR? What's your kind of angle when it comes to Chris Godwin?
Yeah, look, it's one of those things. If he was going to go on the PUP or IR, and it was an IR spot, I'd get him in a fairly aggressive spot because I had him in a lot of leagues last year, and I know how good he can be. And I wouldn't obviously overdraft him, but if there was a slot there, now if he's not going to start on the PUP, he's not obviously an option there. The other thing is that they're talking about he'll be back in October, which is week 5. So the only reason why they haven't put him on the PUP is so he can train fully. There's what do you call it? There's things you can't do when you're on the PUP when training. You can't do full activities to the same extent. So they want him to ramp up in training and try and hit the ground running, and that's why he's avoided the PUP. But yeah, look, off my board's probably a bit strong. What it's going to do is it's going to raise Igbokwe to undraftable areas for me. I love the guy. I'm not going to get him in the 3rd round. And I feel like a lot of drafts coming up over the next 10 days or however long the draft season's left, he's just going to get ridiculously overdrafted to the point where I fear I'm not going to get any of him, which sucks because I really want him. And I've got him in a couple of drafts I've already had, which is great. But yeah, it's just one of those things where Godwin sort of is going to be, if he falls and falls and falls and falls, I might just take the chance and hope he's back in week 4 and back to his old self. But it's tough to get that designation.
Yeah, they don't give us much questions at all. One thing that we have known for a while is Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the 49ers. He will start the season on the PUP, and all reports again, week 6, week 7 is what they're kind of projecting. But something new that's come to light recently, Juwan Jennings, also another wide receiver for the 49ers. He was dealing with a calf issue for the last couple of weeks. He's been missing out on training camp, but now it looks like he might be a PUP candidate to start the year. Mav, with this news being said, I mean, you're my guy, even though it wasn't formerly put in our My Guy show. Unfortunately, we missed out on that one. But your My Guy, Ricky Pearsall, I mean, his ADP should absolutely skyrocket. So with this news being said, yeah, how are you feeling towards that 49ers wide receiving room?
Yeah, well, Kittle's going to be the number one, expect, and should get peppered left, right, and center. But then there's great opportunity for Ricky Pearsall to start making this wide receiver room his own. He's a first round talent, so I expect him to take some strides. He's just fantastic value where he's at. I don't think it's skyrocketed too much money. I think it's still kept pretty hush hush, which I don't understand why. I really don't. But whatever. Outside of that, there's not much else. There's Sky Moore, I think he's now on the roster, who just genuinely cannot play. And then, that's it. So they need Juwan Jennings, they need Ayuk. So, maybe by mid-year, Ricky Pearsall might take a bit of a hit, but early on, he's got every chance of really, going nuclear. And he might just keep on going if he gets opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be hard for the 49ers to take him off the field if he's producing at the gate when that opportunity is there. So definitely one to watch, and maybe the ADP hasn't caught up quite yet because I think this news is fairly recent with Juwan Jennings potentially going on the pup. So if that does get confirmed, I mean, we've still got a couple of weeks. So next week is really going to be the last opportunity to draft up until Friday before the start date. So I'm going to keep track. We'll see how much that kind of jumps up now. I think he's in the late 30s range, and I believe he was in like the 40s or something to begin with. So he's slowly moving on up. Another one just to touch on, Secko, before we kick off, because we are a couple minutes out, Tyjae Spears was seen in a walking boot. It was, I think he confirmed high ankle sprain a couple of weeks ago. That's usually a 3 to 5 week sort of thing, but seeing him in a moon boot, probably just a precaution. How are you feeling about Tyjae Spears and, I mean, Tony Pollard? He could be a sneaky value in tonight's draft.
Yeah, I was pretty big on Spears going pre-injury and cutting into some of Pollard's work. But if he's missed this much time, he's probably not going to start till week 2 or 3. Ramp up, they won't hit him hard. Pollard's a really good start. In the later rounds, they're sort of around 7-8 period range. So I'm backing on Pollard, which I have been before, and it's hurt me. So I won't get him tonight. I promise. Please, someone stop me. Because I'm starting to get a lot of him, which I don't like.
We'll see how we go. It will be actually tonight. I think it will be a bit of chaos because we've got, and I might actually flick it over to the draft board as we are a couple of minutes out. I'll just pull it up here on screen. Oh, that's not the one. There we go. I'll move this stuff around, but this is the draft board here. Yeah, I was checking up a couple of stats. I'll just quickly move this around here. Someone's been fiddling. But with this being said, Mav, mate, I'll move this around. We're all over the shop here. Hold on. So as I was saying, it will be fun because all three of us are back to back to back, which is just great. Mav, thank you again for running that draft order and slotting me into the 101. Didn't really cost me anything either, which was just great. But I'll just quickly update this. Hopefully that's all sorted. Cool. So this is the draft board. Should be able to see that all pretty clearly. So like I said, we've pulled an absolute ransom on the people that have joined in with the draft tonight. And so it's us three here. We've got DFAB and then a bunch of guys from either our WhatsApp group, our Insight community, or also guys that have been reaching out on social. So thanks heaps to everyone who's kind of joined in and is getting involved in this fast draft tonight. Can't wait to see how this one plays out. But looking at that, you're starting it now. Run it up. There you go, guys. 1:30 on the clock. And I think I might just take my time here, honestly. I've got to be that guy. This will be the first share that I've drafted of Josh Allen all season. And just to reiterate, this is a SuperFLEX draft in my head. Out of this, I hate drafting from the 101 spot. I just feel like the value isn't there. But I want to pick here. I want to get my guy Josh Allen. I love him dearly. And I know we were talking about Patty Mahomes back in the day. It's hard to repeat as the number one quarterback, but look at Josh Allen here, guys. He is just 2020, number one, 2021, number one, 2022, second, 23, one, last year, 2024, second. So he's just missed the consistency with the bullet. there's no way at this spot. It is either between him or Lamar Jackson, but I think Lamar, his numbers last year in passing wise was the best he's ever had by quite a margin. Don't think it's going to be as sticky this year and repeatable. So I will look in Josh Allen as we throw to Secko up on the clock. And we're missing just one green light, and of course it's DFAB. So I will just send him a quick message, Secko, while you talk us through your pick, and then we lead into Matt.
Yeah, I'll pad till DFAB's green. He is crook, so we'll give him a bit of a pass. He might be having a nap on the couch. Yeah, look, as Mull said, there's in a SuperFlex draft like this, there's sort of some options that a lot seem layups for you. I have two clear. He mentioned Lamar. I won't talk too much around it. Mav did say that he's 41 touchdowns last year, passing touchdowns. He's unlikely to repeat, which I agree with. But he only had 4 rushing touchdowns, and I feel like previous years he's had higher totals than that. So I feel like he can get back to the sort of 7 and 35 passing and be completely fine. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and I feel like you can't really like either of those two. They're probably on an island by themselves, or the way that I see it anyhow. Like there is a bit of a gap between the next guys in terms of quarterback. And Mav, mate, you just absolutely jump in the queue. You've got the easiest choice here out of the lot. Jamar Chase at the 103. Did you have a dream last night that you were taking Jamar at the 103, or you've just known since the start?
It's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. Now it's totally that pick. Jamar Chase is, just the best skill position at the moment. So it was always going to happen, man. Always going to happen. I was never going to pick Jaden Daniels or Burrow or QB as such. It was always going to be Jamar Chase, and I think he's in for a massive, massive year. And he was last year, but he could just echo it, really.
Yeah, he could. I mean, there's nothing really changed with their situation. Their defense has got worse, if anything. T. Higgins, his boy, is locked up long term, and which we've seen. It's like the pendulum's kind of swung as well. It was Jamar Chase's stats last year with T. Higgins compared to without. It's like 5 fantasy points less. So they definitely work well in unison together, and shifting that defense so Jamar isn't getting triple teamed at most points. So yeah, Jamar Chase, it's very hard. Mav, I've got to ask, if Lamar or Josh Allen was on the clock, are you tempted to go either of those guys? Or are you still taking Jamar over the top 2 quarterbacks?
Look, probably would take the first 2 QBs off the board if I had the top 2. Outside that, number 3, it's definitely going to be all day Jamar Chase. I think he's just, it's not so much the next best. It's not about being next best, but you can always get QBs later. But you can't get Jamar Chase at his caliber later on. So, look, there's only a small little tier gap, I suppose, between, let's say Lamar to Jaden Daniels. But yeah.
Yeah, the gap between Jamar Chase and the rest of them compared to the quarterbacks, it's definitely a huge margin. So not bad getting Chase there. Yeah, DFAB auto with Bijan, so he's definitely got a queue set with this. He would have had Justin Jefferson as terms of ADP, but so we'll see how this one's kind of will progress as we get through these picks here. So yeah, we do have currently 90-second pick timers. That will reduce to 30-second pick timers once we get to the later rounds, probably after the 10th, starting the 11th, we'll drop to 30 seconds just to get it through, just to show the full draft board. Actually, I'll leave that as is there. So it is 14 rounds tonight, start 8. And just to kind of run through the settings as well, while we've got these picks running through, it's so quarterback in a super flex spot, 2 starting running backs, 2 starting wide receivers, a tight end, and then 2 trio flex spots. So whether it be wide receiver, running back, or tight end. This is points per reception league, so you get 1 point. There's no bonus for tight ends. They're kind of on the same playing field, so that'll be another good one to watch out and see if that tight end picks, if they're still kind of going in the same range that they would in a tight end premium league. But it looks like DFAB's got the green light. That's good. He's on the board. After DFAB went Saquon Barkley, so second running back off the board. I know that's been a bit controversial, I guess, leading into this year. A lot of people play the narrative of all the touches that he had throughout the year, the regular season, also postseason, in the leadoffs up to the playoffs, and how running backs who have such a high usage, they tend to regress the following year, whether it's they don't get as many touches, injury, other situations kind of play out. Throwing it to you, Secko, where does Saquon kind of sit in the running back rankings for you? And on top of that, is Bijan your number one guy, and how does that play out?
Yeah, so Bijan's my number one, pretty clearly. Look, I'm probably the low guy on Saquon. He's actually my running back 8. No, obviously, I'm just scared of his workload. I've been burnt too many times in the past by these guys with high workloads. He's not young either anymore, which is 28 for a running back, going to the 8th season. A lot can go wrong with it. So yeah, I've got a bunch of others ahead, but I would salute to Gibbs in that situation 10 times out of 10. But again, that's just me. I'm scared. I'm not scared. That's the wrong, too strong. I'm just a bit concerned that the slightest thing that can go wrong, can really impact him from being that super high ceiling guy. So that's just me.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. Like I guess kind of a philosophy that a lot of people take on board in drafting is those first 3 rounds, you really don't want to get wrong, or it's hard to get wrong. But I guess if you hit at a guy that's carrying injury risk or whatnot, that could really just tank your whole season compared to if you take shots later on the draft, like 8th or 9th round. These guys aren't starters. They're not going to completely nuke your year. I can definitely, I can see your reasoning behind you'd rather take injury risk out of it and go to a different direction that you think is just going to hit better or, if not as good. Mav, are you the same there with Barkley? Are you kind of letting him fall back a little bit, or you're not too worried about the amount of touches he had last year?
I'm worried about the Madden curse, to be honest with you.
Madden curse.
That's sort of what gets to me. But no, look, I've said this a few times. I think they're going to be throwing it a lot more. I think the schedule fans going to be a bit more competitive, so they're going to be forced to throw the ball around.
And with that, we've after Saquon at the 1-6, we had Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. So I guess probably the remaining guys of that the top 2 tiers there. Then Jahmyr Gibbs at the 1-9, absolute steal. Justin Jefferson at the 1-10, followed by Ashton Genty 1-11, and CD Lamb to round us out. Rodrigo's on the turn. He double stacked wide receivers, CD Lamb into Malik Neighbors. That's a very hot start to begin. 2 guys that are just going to get absolutely loaded in targets. And then following Malik in the second round, we've got Amon-Ra at the 2-2, Christian McCaffrey at the 2-3. Now, looking at that, he's running back 5. That's a big value as well, in my eyes. Secko, are you taking CMC over Saquon?
Yeah. CMC is my number 2 in PPR and half as well, I'm pretty sure. We touched on it at the start of the show. There's no Ayuk, there's probably no Jennings. There's no Demarcus Robinson either. So there's literally going to be 1 tight end, 1 receiver, and CMC. So he'll get all the short yardage stuff as well as all of his normal stuff out the backfield. So this Brian Robinson signing has done less than nothing to scare me off. He's purely an insurance guy. So yeah, he wheels up. I think he's going to be top 3 running back if he stays fit. Guaranteed.
Yeah, and he's going to get just buckets and buckets of work that he can handle. Yeah, with given those injuries, like he touched on there. After CMC, Brock Bowers at the 2-4. So in a non-tight end premium league, throw it to you, Mav. Are you comfortable taking Bowers at that spot, or how does that play out for you?
He's a wide receiver in a tight end's body. He's probably one of 3 that you can probably take any spot at tight ends. And you'd be okay with. Outside of that, obviously, you're probably losing a bit of value. But Brock Bowers could have monster numbers. It doesn't matter what sort of league functions or settings you play with. Brock Bowers is really just unbelievable.
Yeah, I love it. 2-4. I don't really have any pushback on it either. It's getting him, if he can take a step up and really separate himself compared to the other tight ends like Kelsey and McBride, if he can lap that field and be a Kelsey like we saw in his previous years, it's definitely going to be worth it at that spot. Following Brock Bowers, Nico Collins at the 2-5. That's a big value. Actually, where do you go there? He went as wide receiver 6, so probably actually where you need to take him. I've got him as wide receiver 4, so bit of a value in my eyes. Puka Nacua at the 2-6. He's definitely had a little bit of a fall in ADP, and just assuming going off that Matthew Stafford injury concern. Patty Mahomes, the guy that we were mentioning at the 2-7, Secko, the 2-7 for me just seems like a little bit too rich to swallow. Quarterback 6 in that range. How many, looking at it now, how many other quarterbacks would you take ahead of Patty Mahomes?
In a 4-point per passing touchdown league, there's quite a few. But I mean, not heaps. It's a massive teardrop for me. That's all it is. It's not who's better necessarily. I'd probably still take him next, 6th in this format. I'm not massive on Knicks, and then you've got sort of your Mayfields and Kylers and Brock Purdy's and Drake Mays, who are all thereabouts. But I'd probably take Mahomes above them all, but I wouldn't take him for another couple. Probably 3rd round. Not given I can get the guys I just said. In a SuperFlex a round or two later. Fortunately, I have a QB1. If you don't, I get the want to get one as soon as you can to not be caught out with starting, JJ McCarthy and Justin Fields as your 2. But yeah, Mahomes would be a sort of a later round thought for me.
Yeah, and in SuperFlex leagues, I can see the SuperFlex, the quarterbacks are just valued so highly, and you never know when that run is coming. But Mav, leading up to your pick, we had after Patty Mahomes, DFAB, our very own, took Drake London at the 208, Brian Thomas 29, and Derrick Henry. And I could have, when I saw you on the clock and saw Derrick Henry there, I could have put that pick in for you. I reckon that was just, was just absolute buttered bread. Yeah, Steele, talk us through that one with Derrick Henry, and then leading into Secko's at 211.
Mate. Well, he's a bit older now, Derrick Henry, so there's always concern that he declines. But at the same token, mate, no concern with Derrick Henry in this offense. He's going to be fed. He gets goal line carries. Just a monster of a human being. So, no brainer.
You can't go wrong. And Secko, thank you, mate. You took one of my guys out of my queue, Chase Brown, taking him, ahead of the likes of Devon Achane, Bucky Irving. How are you feeling about him for 2025?
Yeah, he's been the biggest riser of my in my rankings from a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I had Achane right up there. This injury uncertainty is sort of taking him off my round 2 board. I would get him at the end, mid to late round 3 maybe. Bucky, I like. There seems like a lot of mouths to feed there, whereas for Chase Brown, just him. And in PPR, I think he just has such a high catch upside. Essentially in a 3-man offense, which is massive high power, massive high scoring. We saw him at the goal line in the preseason game last week, and I didn't want to miss him. I didn't want him to get sniped by you. I had a feeling you might get him at the 3-1 and miss him by 1, so I jumped it.
Yeah, he would have been one of my picks. But with that being said, I think the value now that I'm at the 212, Devon Achane, I know the injury's there, but I think the value is just too good falling at that point. So I will take the swing there. And seeing that we have had a few running backs go off the board and looking at wide receiver, I do have AJ Brown there, but I've taken him in a lot of spots. And I think, it's not the way that we want to draft just because we've got shares of good guys if we've got conviction that they are right. But I am going to spread the love around a little bit. And I feel like I've been on a little bit of a, not an island, but I'm definitely higher on this guy than most. And with that being said, I will double tap the running back position and I will take Bucky Irving and just starting off this run here. So, yeah, locking up Josh Allen, back-to-back running backs. Happy there with that core of guys, both good in the pass-catching game in a PPR league. Secko, you've got Mav 1 spot behind you. Can you take the guy that he wants? That's what I'm hoping to see.
Impossible.
But what do you think?
I took the guy you wanted, and you took the guy that I wanted. So we're doing this pretty well. I don't think I'm going to take Mav's guy. I think Mav won't be as interested in this guy as I am. But exactly as you said, what I've found from doing a bunch of drafts, and it's sort of important to mock draft as much as you can out there, guys, because I've found a lot of the times if I'm not getting and SuperFlex obviously as well plays into it, but I've got a great quarterback, so I feel like I can wait a little bit. But I feel like I get caught out without my second running back is horrible more often than not if I'm picking early in a SuperFLEX 12-team league. And so I'm going to go running back as well here. I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor. I think with Danny Jones, Danny Dimes, he's the guy who he's going to get a lot of dump-offs. Again, PPR league, him and Chase Brown have massive receiving upside. And that's what I'm going for in this format.
Yeah, I love JT there, and I hope I'm trying to trade for JT in one of my dynasty leagues. I hope the manager isn't watching this video before I pump JT up. But yeah, Danny Dimes, like, I don't think people are adjusting as much. Like, you know, that I think Michael Pittman, he goes up being the only healthy one guy, but JT, the big worry for him has been that receiving work. Even though Danny Dimes doesn't throw it as much or dump it off as much to the running backs, he's definitely going to do it more than Anthony Richardson. And not only that, Danny Dimes isn't going to run in as many touchdowns as Anthony Richardson would, stealing that away from JT when they're within the 5. So he should see a lot more work. And Mav is following suit with the guys here. Isn't that pretty? Out second and third round is just lining up all running backs. Josh Jacobs, Mav, that's a pretty value there at the 3-3.
Yeah, I think he's going to be majority of the offense. You know, they're pretty deep at wide receiver. Don't get me wrong; they've got a lot of options there, but we know that Josh Jacobs, it's him and his own. Really, there's no one else that's going to be stealing touches off him. He's the bell cow back there, going to get goal on, first down, second down touches if applicable. No, right.
I love it. Just want to ask, were either of you guys considering Trey McBride with those picks at all? Not really.
No, I wasn't. I do love Trey McBride, and I've got him in a couple of spots as well. But I'm starting to think that the tight end can be left a bit, especially in bigger leagues. If I'm in 10-man or an 8-man, maybe looking up the premium onesie. But I'm happy to sort of wait personally.
Yep. No, very well. Maybe if it's a tight end premium, maybe 1 point extra. A very different story. But with that, Kyron Williams following Josh Jacobs. So we had 4 running backs to start the third round. DFAB, bit of an interesting one here, going after a guy that he likes. Brock Purdy as the quarterback 7 at the 3-5. Mav, thoughts on the Brock Purdy pick there by DFAB?
It's bold. It's very bold. I mean, you got Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, sort of in that same sort of area. Bold, but hey, you got to go take your guys, and if he truly believes that Purdy's going to explode, then I guess he sort of knows what he's going to try and do here. But I would have waited around and just taken the value elsewhere personally.
Yeah, maybe
he might not have come back. He might not have come back. So to that point, get your guy. Look at the draft board. Those last 4 guys all haven't got a quarterback, so they're all taking at least 1, maybe 2. So there might be 5 quarterbacks going after his pick. It's a good tip for everyone watching that in your draft, look ahead, see what the teams ahead of you have and see what might come back. Because I feel like we're going to see Nix, Mayfield, probably Herbert, Murray.
Oh, there goes Nix.
Maybe even Drake May, Stroud, all go before DFAB's pick. And I think Brock Purdy would have been in that cluster. I might be wrong here, but I feel like there'll be a bit of a run of quarterbacks over these these back 4 teams.
And with DFAB taking Brock Purdy at the 3-5, Trey McBride slid to the 3-6, so nearly a round and a bit behind Brock Bowers. Good value there. AJ Brown at the 3-7. That was one of my wide receivers I was contemplating in that position. But yeah, there's just the injuries there and got too many shares. We'll spice it up a little bit. Marion Hampton at the 308. Another good pick there. I like Marion Hampton. And one thing that we didn't actually touch on, Najee Harris, he is hopeful for week 1. But with that being said, hopeful for week 1, he's on a new team, trying to run a new offense. He hasn't trained at all whatsoever during preseason or training camp or anything like that. I think that Hampton, if he shows us what we think he can show us in these first couple of weeks while Najee's still kind of catching up to gear, I think it'll be too late. I think Hampton will just run away with it. Coach Harbaugh, he's not a dumb person. He knows he wants to, put the ball in the best player's hand that they have on the team to succeed. So hopefully you can see that there. And Bo Nix, as you were mentioning, Secko goes at the 3-9. Marvin Harrison at the 3-10. Breece Hall 3-11. Ladd McConkey 3-12. So Rodriguez at the back end. 3 wide receivers in a row. could be a victim of
Pretty
us
good.
absolutely hammering on running backs at the start, and he's just scooping up all the wide receiver value, which is kind of something that you have to do too, right? Like if the draft isn't playing out how you kind of saw it, you have to just take the best value on the board there. But Mav, you're the next guy up on the clock. We've still got 10 picks before it gets to you. I'm going to throw it to you, and hopefully we can get some insight, and I can maybe change my picks if I think you're going to take one of my guys. So what are you kind of looking at here? You've got Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs with your first three.
Fuck, I'm stacked, aren't I? Jesus. Thanks for mentioning those three players, by the way. I just got a bit of movement even thinking about it. Look, not sure yet. There's still quite a few picks to come here. Rodriguez is in a bit of a hole in terms of what he does next. He's sort of handcuffed with running backs and QBs. He's going to have to take at least 4 in the next 5-6 picks, maybe. So he's got his wide receivers. That's cool, but he's going to also have to. There you go, Kyler Murray. So he's going to have to get in these guys. Problem is the running back room is starting to really thin out for Rodriguez. So by the time it gets come back to him, his starting running back could be Chuba Hubbard or James Conner or RJ Harvey. So unless he's sort of played this out where it could even be lower. We'll see how it plays out. I could take another running back in my next pick. I don't know yet, depending on where the value holds. I do like hoarding the running backs, but look, we'll see how we go. I'm not sure what I'm going to pick just yet. There's still a few to come. Like there's still 10 players on my board that I'm looking at that I really want. So we'll sort of see how it plays out. But this is the beauty about the draft. You sort of just let it come to you and take the hits as they come. And it's all about sort of just getting to the next point. You always try and put a few guys in that same tier and sort of go, well, if he gets picked, I want him instead. And you just keep on adapting, I suppose, as the draft goes along.
It's definitely if you're a chameleon, you'd absolutely love drafting because you just change it on the fly, doing what you can. And I think, Trevion Henderson, that's a nice pick there. Nice pick. And I think that's kind of where ahead of James Cook, Alvin Kamara, I don't mind that. He was in my queue. I think that was optimistic. I think either at least used to or DFAB would have scooped him up before I had the chance. But Trevion Henderson at the 4-3, man, all it takes is just one preseason game of him taking a kick return to the house, and now he's just inside the top 4 rounds. And in a SuperFlex league, I just want to point something out to you guys as well, because I think this would have to be the first SuperFlex league I've ever drafted where there's only been, we've got 5. There's only been 9 quarterbacks so far in the first 4.5 rounds, which is a SuperFlex. You normally see the first 2 rounds are just littered with quarterback selections. So yeah, maybe people are just
every draft's different for SuperFlex though. I've been in a few, and every league drafts differently when they try to play SuperFlex. They try and stack out the skill positions. Everyone's got the same strategy. Let's just get skill position players and worry about QBs later on. And some are like, no, I want the best QBs, I want the best scorers immediately. So every league is different. So here we go. We're on a bit of a wide receiver stretch here at the moment. 3 of the last 4 picks, 6 of the last, or 4, was it? 4 of the last 6 have all been wide receivers. So we're on a bit of a wide receiver stretch here. But yeah, who knows? Just again, I'm just letting the value come to me as it comes. We're only 2 off here, and DFAB is taking his sweet ass time, unless he's on his deathbed. I don't know what else he could be doing. But yeah, we'll see how we go. The wide receivers at the moment on the board sort of scare me. There's a few there that really scare me, to be honest. Like you got McLaurin, Evans, Rice. They're the 3 that really scare me. Evans is probably the safe pick and the reliable pick, but again, he's 31 or 32 now. Is he ever going to decline? Surely. He can't be a 1,000-yard mark forever, can he? But and then it sort of dips off really quickly. So the next pick is going to make the draft, I think. And
I've got to ask you, Matt, was Tyreek Hill in consideration at all? He went at the 4-7 compared to where he went last year. That's definitely a bit of a fall. Tyreek Hill 4-7, was that any consideration?
He was. Yeah, he was.
He was, yeah.
but that's okay.
It's good to hear.
That's okay. It's still a risky pick regardless. So I'm okay not taking him or getting him at yeah. There you go. Scary Terry's gone. So yeah, I'm stuck with a few receivers there. So I'm not going to go receiver. We're going to start moving on from the receivers, and I think we're going to put where do we put our love into? Is it a reach going? There's just so many options here. I'm thinking about going running back. I'm thinking about going James Cook here and just stacking up running back and then letting the players come to me because you still need running backs at the end of the day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take James Cook. I think he's great value at this pick now that we're knowing he's 100% in.
It's good value there for sure. 410. You're probably getting the back end of that tier. I know there is a couple of guys floating around, but we'll see. Secko, you're in the clock here. Are you going to follow suit and take a third running back, or are you going to spice things up a little bit here?
If James Cook was there, I reckon that was my only guy that would have tempted me into it. Ken Walker, injured, always injured. Chuba, we shit on before. James Conner, might only play 6 games. Harvey, rookie. Mixon, pup. Montgomery, backup. Judkins, suspended. Like it's not a good list, right? That's why I wanted to get the 2 in early. That's what I was saying when I made that Chase Brown and JT back-to-back pick. Because I find myself, if I needed running back now, I'd hate myself for it. So, where was my train of thought? Now I'm going to go somewhere. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to something very different. And I'm going to go who I think could potentially be the number 1 tight end in the game this year. I'm going George Kittle.
Such good value at the 411. That was going to be a very, very easy pick for me. Yeah, good one there, Secko. Now I've just got to crunch the time a little bit. For me in this spot, I mean, yeah, George Kittle, now that he's gone, I'm not even interested in any of the tight ends for at least another 5 or so rounds. So they can all suck it. But looking at it here, we had DFAB. Actually, I'll round out the 4th round before I make a pick. Kyler Murray, Garrett Wilson, Trey Henderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, T. Higgins, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill. A very own DFAB took Justin Herbert at the 4.8. Terry McLaurin at the 4.9. Mav took 4.10. Secko, Kittle at the 4.11. And looking at this here and looking at the quarterbacks left here, I will be taking a quarterback with one of these picks just because I know there's still plenty on the board, but the guy that I want here, I've got him ahead of Patty Mahomes in my ranking. So for me, that's a massive value, and he is around this ADP. That's my guy, Drake May, pairing up Josh Allen and Josh Allen's son in Drake May. I'd like to think that's Josh Allen Jr. Very similar statures, big arms. They can run the ball. Hopefully they can both be 1 and 2 for me this year. But then looking here, there's a running back there that I don't mind, but there is a bit of concern. I've got no wide receivers yet. Looking at this, maybe I go in the wide receiver area. I'm not too keen on Mike Evans. I have a little bit of doubt, probably similar to Mav. If that 1,000-yard streak, can that keep going? Even though the Bucs will do anything to give that man 1,000 yards, like we saw last year. Oh man. And one thing that I'm doing here, I'm looking at my next lot of ADP and seeing where those picks are lining up, just to kind of project who is going to fall on my lap or kind of around that area. So with that being said, Terry McLaurin, let me just quickly run through some numbers here. Absolutely draining the clock. Absolutely draining it. Going to do things a little bit different. Fuck it. I'll just take 3 running backs. Kenneth Walker, jump on board. So all of that for nothing. I'll go back to Ken Walker. I feel like he's the last.
Oh, that was great.
Not high Tuba Hubbard. I'll take Kenneth Walker for the upside. I'll shoot for the stars. Secko, you're on the clock here, mate. At the 5-2. After I just fucking took all the
ladies and gentlemen, we just saw a live tilt. Just bookmark these 44 minutes, about 43 and a half to 44 minutes. Go back and watch it again tomorrow. That was good watching. I'm a big fan of that. Anyway, you got your guy. I'm gonna go the young hotness. There's not a lot of wide receivers. We've spoken about Mike Evans, Rashee Rice, Devontae Adams. I'm gonna go the next guy who's on the list here, who's actually above them all in my rankings. It's Terrell McMillan. I think he's a very big chance. If Bryce Young is the second half of the season, Bryce Young, or the last 6 games of the season, Bryce Young, this guy can catch 110 balls. And so again, in PPR, I'm going for a very PPR-focused draft, guys who can get a lot of balls thrown their way and do something with them. So I think the sky's the limit for this guy. Who knows? But he might shit the bed. But I think he'll stay in my lineup all season.
Yeah, I love it. That was the two between me, but either Tet or Kenneth Walker. And I pulled the trigger there. I wish if I had an inkling, I would have done it purely just for the spite and start. Mav, you were here fist pumping here, mate. I take it Tet wasn't your guy. Who are you looking at in this spot?
I'm going to take Baker. I'm going to take the money maker. He's fallen a little bit here. He's got an absolute gunslinger of an arm. He's got Mike Evans and Igbuka and Bucky Irving. He's got some pass catches. He's going to get Goldwyn back at some point. So I think Kate Alton's obviously not a bad pass catcher himself. So I think the offense is going to be very flowy still, and he's going to be passing it a lot. And look, he's slipped a lot, man. He's slipped a lot. He's been going 3rd, 4th round. To get him in the start of the 5th with the squad that I've got, I'm pretty stoked with. I'm stoked with that.
Yeah, I did see him fall down. I think he was a couple of rounds past ADP. But you're lucky that I took my second and Secko decided elsewhere. Baker at the 5 in the 5th round after you've loaded up on running backs and you've got your start in Jamar Chase. That's I'm not going to say anything, Mav, just because I know how much you love to see that pub up and take that on board. So I'll keep it quiet. We'll see how the rest of the draft plays out. Hopefully you can start. Hopefully you can start. No, I can't. I just can't. Can't bring myself. Enough of that. Baker Mayfield at the 5-3. Very good value. We'll leave it at that. DJ Moore at the 5-4. And then DFAB, our very own, and Broncos fan took Cortland Sutton at the 5-5. Not bad value. Again, he's number 1 on his team. Definite double-digit touchdown upside. Very, very. I feel like he falls because people don't see him as a sexy pick. They want to take the hotness. They want to take the rookies. But Cortland Sutton, he's the number 1 option on that team by a landslide.
He was in consideration for my pick, actually. If you had taken McMillan, I probably would have gone Sutton. The only reason why I like McMillan more, but I thought there was a 5% chance that Sutton might fall back because, as you said, no one thinks he's a sexy pick. So I just thought I'd chance it. But he's, again, if you watched any of the Bo Nix 2 series of the preseason game, he's the only guy he's looking for. There's no Ingram. There's no backfield work. I think he had 8 targets of Bo Nix's 11 passes. It's just that he's going to be the entire offense. So I think Sutton is a great pick this year in any format. But
and good value. And
huge.
And following that, DK Metcalf at the 5-6, James Conner at the 5-7, as we're at for Joseph at the 5-8. But looking at it here, still plenty of quarterbacks left on the board. Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, Dak Prescott. They're the next up in line in terms of ADP. Wide receivers, Mike Evans, Rashee Rice, Devontae, then Devonta Smith, Travis Hunter, getting into those guys. And then tight ends, not much. There's Sam Laporta's next best. And then, still a bit of a ways away before the next guy up in ADP. So looking at the back of the board, not a lot of quarterbacks. Definitely not a lot of running backs compared to the top half of the board. We've just hoarded all of them and holding that monopoly. Looking at this here for Joseph, we'll see what he's going to do. I know Tuhill and Cam Y, they both have no quarterbacks, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And maybe maybe Joseph, maybe that was his mindset as well. Maybe he's thinking these guys all need quarterbacks. I'll take a quarterback here and maybe get a skill position on the way back around. And I think that's a good tip actually as well. Like you mentioned earlier, Secko, you've got to look forward and see what guys are kind of doing. If people behind you, great example with the quarterbacks, people behind you have no quarterback and you still, out of your next 2 picks, you want to take one, ideally take the guy first because there's a very good chance the guys behind you are thinking taking quarterback and beating you to it. So Caleb Williams at the 5'8", not bad value either. He has that rushing upside. What else do we have here? Mav, I know you're still a ways away. Can you give us a little bit of a taste? I know it doesn't need to be a player, maybe a position that you're kind of targeting. Are you going to dive back into running backs and just go full T and just load up? Or are you thinking about diversifying and spreading the love around in terms of running backs?
Fuck, I'm stacked, aren't I? Yeah, look, I actually don't know who I'm going to go, to be honest. I could very well go running back again. It's very rare that I'd take 4 in the first 6 picks running backs. Look, they'd all be starting for me, sure. I feel as though the wide receivers are a lot more deeper this year compared to running backs, and running backs do thin out quite quickly. But at the same time, depends who actually gets to me as well. I mean, I don't want to be starting a guy like DeAndre Swift or Tony Pollard exactly, if that's the case, or David Montgomery. I don't want to reach and take running backs because of their position, and you're actually losing out because you want the position and not the actual the value as such. So, look, I'm probably going to take. I don't know, man.
Just give us a name, man. Just share the top person on your queue. Give us an insight. We can't move up.
Gonna see my queue. I'll show you my queue.
Yep.
Empty.
An absolute tease. Just as I anticipated.
It's fine though. I mean, it's there's look at Terry Hill, for example. He's got no running quick QBs at all, so he's gonna have to take. You imagine he'd go QB next. Cam here on the clock, no QB, so they're gonna be fighting each other next few rounds, which is not really what you want to be doing. You don't want to be fighting against the guys that draft around you for certain positions, because you will get killed.
Yeah.
Or sniped.
Yep, things will definitely not go the way that you hope it to be in that situation. But sometimes it's just how it plays out. The best value falls. CJ Stroud at the 5'11", and I'm not too sure if I mentioned at the start, this is a 4-point passing touchdown league for quarterbacks. So I guess the running quarterbacks probably have a little bit more weight. It's not too much of a difference, but in terms of scoring. So CJ Stroud,
3 passing touchdowns and 250, 300 yards. It's still a really good game.
It's still really good, yeah, for sure. And CJ Stroud here at the 5'11", gents, he's someone that really hasn't been talked about at all, I don't think, this whole offseason. I know in any of my leagues, I haven't taken him anywhere. Secko, CJ Stroud. I know last year people are all saying it's a sophomore slump and we can label excuses. His wide receivers, Nico Collins was first to go down, missed a good chunk of the year. Then Stephon Diggs, ACL, Tank Dell, another season-ending injury here. He will miss all of this upcoming year as well. CJ Stroud for you, I guess probably not so much in a fantasy lens, but do you think it's going to be similar to what it was last year, or can you expect a bit of a bounce back when it comes to CJ?
No, I expected pretty considerable bounce back, because you mentioned it there, but he ended up with no receivers at all, and a relatively inept offensive coordinator in Bobby Slowick. So that's why Mixon had such a good year. They took it out of his hands and pretty much put everything on Mixon's plate. This year they've drafted two young guys, Higgins and Noel, who can do something there. And Nico's back fully fit, and I'm very high on Nico this year. So yeah, I fully expect Stroud to be a very relevant fantasy guy, but even without fantasy, they're going to be a lot better team, and they're going to be scoring plenty of points. And it helps that they've got no running backs at all to play. I mean, Chubb is a thing, but Chubb's not going to be a difference maker. So they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. I think that's what CJ's going to do.
Yeah, and CJ, he can't do that. He is a very good passer. I guess putting our fantasy hat back on, why he's probably not so favorable in fantasy formats, he just offers nothing in the running game, and we know how much production that gives in terms of fantasy scoring. So for CJ Stroud, for him to have a top 10 finish, he ideally he probably needs to throw for 30 touchdowns, and that's probably not going to be enough. I mean, looking at 2023, he did slide into a quarterback one, back in quarterback one as a quarterback 11, threw for 23 touchdowns, passed for over 4,000, and he ran in for 3. So again, not much rushing yardage there. Just he fell over the line a couple of times, but I believe in 2023 there was a lot of injuries as well. So all the quarterbacks kind of in that year kind of came down. But yeah, in terms of fantasy, it's just tough. It's tough when they don't offer anything in terms of running. You really need to have those outlier passing touchdown years.
I mean, he had 233 rushing yards and no touchdowns, which is, that's a bit of the outlier bit. So that can improve. If they're a better offense, he might have a few more yards. With their lack of, better passing offense and their lack of running backs, he may just have to call his number a bit more, or he may get his number called. But yeah, he's not going to be a 300-plus yard rushing guy, and you'd expect him to have more than 0 touchdowns. But again, I'm not rushing to get him on any format outside of SuperFlex.
No, agreed. I'll recap this round. We've had a bit of a quarterback run. So CJ Stroud, 5'11". Chuba Hubbard closed us off for the 5'12". On the 6'1", Chuba Hubbard and Dak Prescott, they were the selections. And then leading into that, Jordan Love, JJ McCarthy, Jared Goff, RJ Harvey at the 6'5", Jamison Williams at the 6'6". He was someone in my queue. The leagues, they're just too switched on. You can't get anything slides these days. But DFAB's coming up in a couple of picks. But Mav, you're coming up in 3 picks time. Surely you can give us something, mate. Just stop teasing. Just give us a name. Tell us exactly who you're going to pick, and we'll see if he slides to you or not.
Had a bit of a QB run, so I'm thinking QB, to be honest with you, just to sort of shore him out a little bit. I wasn't expecting 4 or 5 QBs go and 6 picks in a row. So I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting at least a Jordan Love to get back to me, and then I could sort of maybe make a decision. Look, Jordan Love, I'm not massive on, but he will score enough points in that position. And I do have Josh Jacobs anyway, so let's sort of fight off each other a little bit, and not ideal. But, there's Justin Fields is there. I'm not in love with Justin Fields, but I can see the attraction with, obviously a QB who can sort of do a little bit of everything. Passing hasn't been his strong suit, but he was the QB 6 before he got benched last year in Pittsburgh. So if he can sort of at least be half that player, or even a 3/4 of that player, then it could be a QB 10, QB 12, and he might be all right. But, one rushing touchdown and, 200 passing yards is still a decent effort. And I think he can, that's his pass mark every game. And I think he can easily clear that.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually heard a stat today on Justin Fields. I think that year with the Bears, where in fantasy, I'll just have to quickly pull this up, where he finishes, Chicago 2022, his sophomore year, he was a quarterback 7, and he only completed 12 passes a game, which is just that. I heard that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Just goes to show. But in that year, 1,100 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. Like, that was just phenomenal. I think that clipped. I don't even think Lamar has had that big of a season in terms of pure rushing. He had 1,206. So just shortly just under Lamar's best. And so sorry, I see that Emeka Egbuka auto by DFAB, but it just hurts. It just cuts very, very deep. Even on an auto, not being active in the draft, he could just cause some mayhem. So thanks, DFAB. Hope you're listening, mate.
Look, Trevor Lawrence was the other one that I was thinking of. It was there as well. He was another option that I was gonna pick. But look, at this point, there's Penix, not too big on him. Cam Ward, rookie. Bryce Young, who knows? Could be value, could be just an average QB for fantasy. Tua, I don't mind. Tua scores pretty well. Again, his ADP is pretty high, just based off, I guess, you don't know if he's playing or not, really. And you got Stafford, injury risk. So I'm going to have to go Fields just out of need. So we'll take Fields here and lock Fields in. It's not a sexy pick by any stretch, but I think he can play to a half decent level.
Well, it's good value there, Mav. I mean, behind all Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, and all those kind of guys, you feel like you're getting the back end of a tier with Justin Fields, and we want to be tier-based drafting and making sure to play the value when it comes to us. And pairing it with Baker, very stable quarterback in Baker there. So Justin Fields, you can have a bit of an upside in that QB2 spot. But Secko, who do you have here in line, and why is it the top guy that I have in my queue?
It's not, but I would have had Ibuka before you got him if he wasn't autoed, and I would have had Lawrence if Mav didn't take him. I don't really like Mav ran through really well the quarterback situation. I will need to get one at some point, but I don't really know if I want to do it right now. So I'm going to go with a guy who I've risen on pretty hard again the last short time, just because I think he finally gets the opportunity to show how good he is, and it's George Pickens.
Perfect. Thank you, Secko. That was number one in my queue. So thanks for lying to me first of all.
We've been on too many pods together. We've obviously been too many drafts together. Yeah. I know you like the back of my hand now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think in our dynasty startup that we had going on, I think I took George Pickens, and you sent me a message straight away saying, "Damn."
I did.
So it's coming around a full circle. So thank you very much. But
no problem.
A couple of options here. Definitely wide receiver for me. Looking at this group, I wanted to go running back early because I am happy with this wide receiver range, like George Pickens, Ibuka, Jamison Williams. They were probably the three top guys I was hoping to come back. So I'll just have to settle for the second stringers, but guys that I still think can be grouped in that tier, but they're just probably more towards the back end. First guy for me, Devonta Smith. With that AJ Brown injury kind of lingering around, I don't think he'll miss any time. I'm still pretty confident in AJ Brown, but if he does, Devonta, when AJ Brown has been out, he's just been an absolute freak on the field. And Mav, he's expecting the Eagles to pass a little bit more, and Devonta is going to be a beneficiary of that. And with my second pick, it will also be another wide receiver. And for me, Rashee Rice is the top guy there. Not interested. Sure, he'll looking like he's going to play the first 4 games and then probably sit for 6 to 8. Not keen on that. I've got to fill my starting wide receiver slot here. So I want a guy with a bit of long term that's going to play the whole season. I've got a couple of options. Xavier Worthy, again, not interested with the whole Rashee Rice fiasco. Not too keen. So for me, I'm looking between Jalen Waddle and Calvin Ridley. For me, I've already got Devon Achane. So Waddle, I'm not too worried about stacking on there because they are different positions. Still don't like to do it, but if I have to, I will. Or Calvin Ridley, DFAB's guy. I feel like I just kind of need to get him back, but hopefully one of you two might do that for me. So I will take Jalen Waddle with the 7-1. And Secko, you're up here at the 7-2.
Yeah, I like Jalen Waddle, so it's a good pick. I'm in a bit of a spot of the draft where I'm looking ahead, and some teams will probably take 3 quarterbacks in the next three or so rounds, but only 2 teams. It's like 2 teams have only 1 quarterback, and I'm the third. So I either need to pull the trigger now because I'm waiting 21 picks, or 20 picks. And I'm going to ask myself, do I want to risk not getting one back that's half decent, given that there's not really a lot left? What I'm going to do, though, is because I have got a wide receiver, I'm actually going to go make a little sneaky cheap stack and go Bryce Young. Now, I mentioned it when I picked up Tetaroa. The last 6 weeks, Bryce Young, I think he was a top 8 quarterback in fantasy for that 6-week stretch, or maybe it was a 4-week stretch. Tetaroa makes him better. The offense is all around better. Canales has had a whole year with him. His confidence is back. I think he's the kind of guy I'm looking at getting as an absolute last resort as a second quarterback in a SuperFLEX.
Yeah, I love it, Secko. Sneaky rushing upside too that we saw at the back end of last year. Definitely Bryce Young adding that extra weapon. He can only go up. But Mav.
It's risky time. We're in the 7th round. It's time to unleash Travis Hunter.
Ooh.
This guy could be a league winner. or he could be your absolute disaster. And I think at this pick,
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Matt, just with your team layout, like you've got Jamar Chase, who's going to lap the field, we think, in wide receivers. You've got that very core, strong, solid base. Now, Travis Hunter in the 7th round, he could be everything. But even if he isn't everything, you don't really need him. Jamar Chase, he could be 2 wide receivers in 1, really. So, yeah, in terms of team composition,
I've been sent this screenshot from a good old mate here, and I'll give him a shout out. So well on this, he brought this to my attention yesterday. Top rookie wide receiver draft picks versus ADP. This is over the last sort of few years. Travis Hunter, question marks. Wide receiver 31's his ADP. Jamar Chase was the 5th overall pick and finished as the wide receiver 5. He was drafted as the wide receiver 29 that year. Jalen Waddle was drafted as the wide receiver 45, ended up as 16 that year. Malik Neighbors was drafted as a wide receiver 24, depending on what league he played in settings, and as a 6. And Drake London was another one who actually had a pretty shit year for his rookie year. But then you have Ted McMillan and Travis Hunter on this list. So as top rookie wide receivers. So generally speaking, if you're going to draft one early, they're going to use them early. So there's obviously some risk for defenses versus offense. Sure, don't get me wrong, but you're not setting a Ferrari to play 100% snaps in defense. This guy is going to change that offense. And Brian Thomas, unfortunately, might be the biggest loser out of all this if Travis Hunter really does get going.
That's a good list, Mav.
Smooth routes, man. He's a smooth route runner.
He's very smooth. He's training the house down too, by all reports. But man, that is a good list. I mean, it's very. I was trying to play devil's advocate in my head and think of like what were the losers in the top 10. Marv, the only one that I can really think of was Marv Harrison from last year, being the 4th overall guy. But even still, 4th. What I don't even know what his finish was. It wasn't that horrible of a season. Wide receiver 30, but I guess just relative to expectation and where he was drafted. But that's the only.
And for reference, Travis Hunter's on my SuperCoach team because again, you're not sort of 100% guaranteed he's going to explode. If he was playing 100% offense, he'd be my SuperCoach team. But at 7th round in a fantasy draft, I'm taking the risk on him.
Happy with the upside. Following that, Isaiah Pacheco, 7'4". Now, Secko, Isaiah Pacheco, he could be very, very sneaky. We were alluding to it, or we mentioned at the start of the show about the Chiefs, and they played some starters for a couple of series in the last preseason game. Pacheco looked pretty good. I mean, he looked like his pre-injury self. How are you feeling about Pacheco? And his 7'4", if you didn't go running back early, would that be in consideration at the 7'2", depending?
Yeah, considering, I mean, if you look at what's there at running back now, there's really not anything. At least this guy's a starter. He's an unquestioned starter, and he's going to get a lot of work. I always liked him enough. It's just he's just always on that next tier down for me as a player. The injury baked into that makes him even less appealing to me. The fact that I think they're going to pass considerably more makes him again less appealing to me. So he's one of the guys who's probably a circumstance of just how I feel about Kansas City as a whole this year. What I expect him to do a bit more. But, I mean, he's PPR running back 15 in 2023 as a second-year player. He can do it. He can get that high 900,000 yards if he's given the opportunity. I just don't think this year he's got that ceiling, which is why I would sort of take almost everyone who was taken ahead of him in a PPR format ahead of him, except maybe I won't say it. Chuba Hubbard. But
Chuba,
I'm out on Chuba, but that's just I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, you would be because you've got Tet and Bryce Young.
No, just in general, yeah. But
I don't know where you're going with that.
I got he got paid, and if your whole theory is based on he got the bag, so he must be. I mean, that's been disproved a million times in the NFL. I just don't think he's that good a guy, that good a player. So, but that's again that's me. But everyone else taken above Pacheco, I would take there. But as we said, Swift and Montgomery, like I don't think they're necessarily, Montgomery's not the main guy for his team. I don't think Swift is, he might get overtaken pretty early. But he might not as well.
I actually really like his team if DeAndre Swift. I think Chuba Hubbard is a safe workhorse for that team. I think he's going to carve out a nice little spot. And fantasy, he's probably safe. He's nothing sexy, but he's consistently good enough.
Is he RB1? Like, is he RB1 worthy in your mind? That's the problem. For me.
Probably fringe. Probably fringe.
What happens if Rico Dowdle has a 50-50 with him? He's worthless.
Down. Yeah, well, yeah, that's if. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But like if Chuba Hubbard, Chuba Hubbard, like if he has a safe like rushing game and gets 15 carries a game and he's going to score a touchdown here and there and he'll garner some yards. Don't get me wrong. And let's say Chuba Hubbard comes out and he's like a safer option, and DeAndre Swift sort of retains his spot and it's just like. Let's say he outproduces his ADP. This team is actually quite good. That's a big if on the running backs, obviously. But you get a pretty stacked list with Lamb, Neighbors, McConkey, Carla, Dak. Like it's got some real upside if the running backs can get going.
And I'll recap after Pacheco at the 7-4. We had Rashee Rice 7-5 by DFAB, scooping up the late discounted value. Xavier Worthy at the 7-6, Travis Kelce's 3 Chiefs players in a row where I just couldn't picture it. And our guy, Subendrin 14, he's got this stack with Patty Mahomes and Worthy. After Kelce at the 7-7, Roma Dunze, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Warren, Sam Laporta, DeAndre Swift to close out the 7th. And then starting us off, David Montgomery, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall, Aaron Jones. So I will just highlight Ricky Pearsall. That is a massive value, I think, at 8-3. I know it's behind Zay Flowers, but we mentioned at the start of the show, if Ayuk and Juwan Jennings also starts this year on the pup, I mean, even if he's not as good as what we hope, he's just going to have so much opportunity where he's just going to get those fantasy points there laying on his lap. So, yeah, good value there at 8-3. I hope one of you two had him in his queue, in your queue. He was in mine, but I know going past you, he's one of Mav's my guys. I hope that has hurt one of you at least, seeing that pick get taken up. So, with that being said, Aaron Jones at the 8-4. Mav, you're a few picks away here with your 8th round pick. You've got 3 running backs. You've got your quarterback set. And you've got 2 wide receivers. What are you looking to do here?
I'm not taking QB. I'll give you a hot tip. That's no surprise, but I'm not. I might just do it to fuck Secko over. That would be quite fun too. But no, look, I'm probably thinking skill position. I'm going to keep sort of holding out on tight end a little bit. I could go tight end and shore that position up, but I'm probably more looking at a wide receiver. Subendrin has got basketball now, so he's on auto pick for the rest of the draft. He said he's Q, so he will be on auto pick for the rest of the draft. But yeah, no, I'll be probably looking at skill position at my next pick. There's a few that this is where you can win a league right here. There's a couple of players there that could really boom, and 8th round, 9th round. This is where you start not reaching, but trying to find your value picks at this point. Everyone's got a solid core of players that generally will score well on any given week, depending on matchups, obviously. But this is where you try and find these guys that you think is going to skyrocket in value throughout the year. This is where you make your money. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to take anyone that's a bit old, like Cooper Kupp. Obviously, the attraction of Cooper Kupp does not excite me at all, and some people do still like that because they're stuck in the past. But yeah, there we go. We got a little run on of players, but yeah, it's gonna be a tough pick, man. I'm probably thinking wide receiver, but there's one guy there that I really do like, and I know Trent probably is listening in, so I'm not gonna say because he's just gonna go, bing. There's one guy here that I really really like, and his value is starting to get higher and higher. He's a bit older, but that's okay.
He is a bit older. Deebo Samuel, perhaps, Mav.
How do you know it's wide receiver?
Number one running back for the
Why can't it be Travis
Commanders.
Etienne?
Oh, I thought you said wide receiver. Sorry,
I did.
He only said
did.
receiver. He only said receiver.
Yeah, just trying to fuck with you.
I reckon it's Deebo. I reckon I could have.
It's the running back. It's the number one running back for Washington. He's got him.
Yeah,
it's good gig.
Austin Eckler.
No, Deebo
Bill.
Samuel, mate.
Hey, don't forget about Bill. It's surprising he hasn't been picked up here. Bill crossing America.
Bill's not getting drafted today, surely.
There we go. It is going to be Deebo Samuel, fellas. He's extraordinary. Good value at these picks now. Chris Olave, I like him as a player. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like his fit. Addison's obviously not too bad. McMyers is a safe option, I suppose, with Geno. But Deebo, I think, has got real upside through the air and on the ground. He's going to see probably 4, 5, 6 carries a game on top of, he's number one option through the air at the moment. So who knows how long that's going to be for? It could be for the rest of the season for all we know. But at this point, I'm going to take a guy who is going to get some guaranteed touches. And he could touch the ball 10 times in a game, man. He's seriously good.
And he looks all right. I know there was a clip from the start of training camp where he looked a little bit bigger, looked like he'd been enjoying a few too many beers leading up to it. But I mean, he only had one preseason touch in the week 2 game, and he 19-yard end around run from the backfield. So he looks like he's still got that juice. Very good value there, especially if Terry McLaurin, we still don't know what's going. It's not guaranteed that he's going to be starting week 1. And we know that wide receivers, if they miss training camp, example, Brandon Ayuk, there's a good chance that they're not ready to go out their gates and even more susceptible to injury after not getting.
Jamar Chase was another one last year, right? I mean, he as good as he is, he didn't play the first played first game, but didn't play well.
He was out of the gate, yeah.
Exactly right.
Secko. I'm on the clock, yeah. So it is wide receiver time. I've only got 2. I like to get a few. I like to have my flex there in a PPR league. I try and get some wide receivers in there. I'm going to go a guy who's had 110 plus targets in 3 of the last 4 years. I'm not scared of his teammate, who is the wide receiver 1. This guy is a wide receiver 2. I think Geno Smith showed that he can support plenty of guys. I'm going to go Jacoby.
Yeah, good
PPR, little PPR cheat machine.
Yeah, very solid pick, and he's definitely being underrated. I think Jacoby could get paid before the season starts as well. There was a couple of talks there with contract, but yeah, love the pick. Much improved offense, and yeah, now I'm in the blender, in the absolute blender. What have I got? I need a tight end and also another flex spot. All other positions are shored up, so I've got a lot of flexibility. With this here, I could really go any way, and I think that's what makes the choice just a little bit harder. I've got so many options. Do I go tight end? Do I kick that down the road and hope that Cole Pitts makes it back to me? That's the gamble. That's the gamble.
Oh, that's good. Well done. That's good.
I think of the 8-12. I think I'm very my core guys, and knowing that they're going to help me get a couple wins early at the gate. I will take a suspension discount in Jordan Addison. My wide receiver room is lacking, and if I can get through those first 3 weeks, I'm happy to take Jordan Addison there. So he will be my first pick. Thanks, Secko. I saw you react.
You got me back. Yeah, you got me back. I thought he was definitely going to fall.
Yeah, no, that fuels the fire, mate. So thank you. And with that, do I go down a wide receiver again, or do I take a running back? Running backs here, Joe Mixon. Like we mentioned, I'm on the same page with you, Mav. I think if the discount's right and I'm struggling for running backs, I might take a stab, but I've got running backs sorted, so I'll leave Mixon. Quinshon Judkins, absolutely no idea what's going on there. What else do we have here in terms of running backs? Man, oh man. Wide receivers, there's not too much. Looking here. Tight end, I think I'll just punt, like I said. Oh, man. What have I got? 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me one moment. I don't know why I'm going to do this. I think behind Kamara, he is going to be everything they have on the Saints. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be gross. But Chris Olave, considering where he went last year, I'll take a massive discount at the 9th round and strengthen up that wide receiver room that was lacking a little bit, I hope. Secko, 9-2. I did take Jordan Addison from you. Thanks for the reaction. 9-2. Who are you thinking here?
You took Olave from me too.
Excellent.
You couldn't have played that better. Right now is a real gross spot because there's really nothing that I like. I probably want to get another running back just to pair with those guys. A sort of a flex worthy guy. Sort of tossing up between a few, and it might be a bit controversial because I know some people in here are fans of this guy's teammate. But I think this could really be the time that Jaylen Warren actually has a role. So I'm going to go Jaylen Warren here. Again, the PPR upside. Cab Johnson can't pass pro. Mike Tomlin won't stand for that very much. So I feel like Jaylen Warren will get a lot of chances on the field. And, hoping he can get plenty of catches.
Yeah, I like the pick, especially in PPR. Aaron Rodgers, he checked down like an absolute machine to Breece Hall last year. So Jaylen Warren can get a piece of that. Good pick there, Secko. Good pick.
So,
Mav, 9-3.
Yeah, it's tight end time, I think. There's probably a few there that I really like. There's Hawkinson, not bad value at this point of the draft. Mandrews, I've got Derrick Henry, so I'm probably not want to double dip too much in that offense. Well, not saying the offense is bad by any stretch, but it's not really what I want to do. And then you got Ingram there, who I really, really like, who's probably the number 2 option in the offense at the moment. Probably behind Cortland Sutton and maybe the running game. But I'm going to take a punt on Evan Ingram, to be honest with you. As much as I like Hawkinson, I do have quite a few shares in Hawkinson, so I don't want to go all in. So I'm just going to take a risk there and do take Ingram and hope the new environment is good for him, because I think he's got some really good high upside and ability. And he's tied down to Bo Nix. I think the ball should come his way quite a fair bit.
Yeah, I like it. And, even with the Devon Vele recently being traded, a guy that played big in the slot for Denver, definitely can see Evan Ingram. He's a big slot guy. He could play up and be in that short area of the field. It's a good stab there, 9-3. PPR league as well. He's going to get a lot of work. And I think maybe even DFAB, he might have had him in his queue ahead of Hawkinson. So that I'll be curious to see how that kind of plays out. Or maybe he wasn't too keen on him to pair with Sutton and Ingram. But, if you've got a team that you follow, you usually slide that one under the table. So, yeah, after Ingram, Trevor Etienne, the 9-4, he was in consideration for myself there. But still, there is a lot of question marks. I think Etienne will probably get the job or be the most productive. But then again, Tank Bigsby, all reports, is looking really well in the early down role. So we've still got questions on how that one is going to play out. Yeah, TJ Hawkinson, DFAB, picked him up at the 9-5. Very, very big value, I think, at TJ Hawk. He slid a whole heap going behind the likes of Tyler Warren, Laporta, and also Evan Ingram. Good value there. Tua Tagovailoa, Sobendran picking up his second quarterback in the 9th round. And Tua, it's got, if he's healthy, of course, it's a big if, but he can produce into the 9th round. That's good value there. And Cam Ward, JM Jury, shoring up these quarterback position, taking his QB3 in Cam Ward with a lot of high upside to pair with Jalen Hurts and Michael Penix. And we might start seeing some more QB3s go off the board. We've still got two Hill. He's got one quarterback. I'm sure a couple of those guys probably were in his queue. Now they're gone. But Joseph is here on the clock to close out the 9th round here. We've got a few more picks to go. And with that being said, and Mav, I'll throw it to you, in SuperFlex format, so we've got 14 picks, 14 rounds here. When are you looking to take your quarterback 3? I know it's dependable on how the draft falls, but is there a range where you're looking to get a quarterback 3, or is that something you're not too worried about in a SuperFlex? You're just going to run with it and hope that none of you guys get injured?
Yeah, I don't often take 3 QBs through, unless brutally necessary, I suppose. If I had Penix, I would probably take another QB through too, just in case he's not it. Yeah, you're taking a gamble on Cam Ward as well, don't get me wrong, but depending on your QB situation as well. I mean, Josh Allen, Drake May, you're probably okay just to roll with those two if you yourself. There's a team there with Kyler and Dak, so you're probably fine with those two. You're risking injury, obviously, with if someone goes down, you can't help that. You can't sort of predict an injury like that. So if you take 2, 3, one goes injured, you're sort of screwed. But you can't think like that, really, can you? You can't think
you can't.
Worst case scenario and then screw your whole team build because you're thinking of the worst, that what could happen. So, yeah, it all depends on how you structured your QBs. I mean, look, I've got Baker and Justin Fields. Look, is that sexy by names? Not really. But, Baker was fine. Justin Fields has got upside, so that could flop. So maybe I do take another QB through just to shore it up. And if Fields isn't him, then that's fine.
Could be a prime spot for Danny Dimes, Mav, on your roster there. I think it'll look nice and pretty at the back end there.
It could. Mate, if it's a last round thing, then, it's not awful. It's not fantastic. Don't get me wrong. You're not getting excited. Oh, look at Danny Dimes. But it's just another option if it does fall to shit with Justin Fields. And as I said, it very well could.
And Secko, on that with you when it comes to QB3. So you've got Lamar and Bryce Young. So you've got a stud at the 1. Are you, same thing, are you concerned about a third quarterback, or you're just not too worried about it while you've got Lamar kind of anchoring that position?
Yeah, if I'm not too concerned now. It sort of has to be sort of a situation where when it gets to my pick, I don't love, it'll probably be a case of I don't love much out there and say, Gino's still there. I don't think he will be. Daniel Jones, I'm not going to get. Like, there's not going to be anything there that I'm going to want. So I think the decision will be off the table for me if I wanted to. But I'll just roll with it and see how we go when it gets to the an injury if it happens. I mean, obviously in Lamar's bye week, that's going to be a rough week to roll with Bryce Young and someone else in the flex. But you just may have hit the nail on the head. You don't want to sacrifice the strength of your team for a worst case scenario, doomsday prepper sort of situation. So it has to be right. I don't ever go in forcing a third quarterback.
And I think too, and one thing to mention as well, this league, it is only 5 bench spots, so probably less interested in getting a quarterback and filling up that bench spot when it is very shallow. You need those guys to be active. Like say for instance, like me having Jordan Addison's suspension, that is going to have a little bit of an impact, especially if guys are going down early. I might need to look to move. That's a good thing to keep in consideration. Make sure that you're well aware of the format that you're playing in, and make sure that you know your roster settings as well. And there is still all strategy in it, depending on the depth, depending on how that looks out there. You can go a few different ways about it. But we've finished up the 9th round. I'll just recap. Chris Olave, 9-1, Jalen Warren, 9-2, Evan Engram, Travis Etienne, TJ Hawkinson, Tua Tagovailoa, Cam Ward, Juwan Jennings, Joe Mixon, Sam Darnold, David Njoku, and Tyrone Tracy at the 9-12. And I will just say at the 8-9 turn, David Njoku was one of the guys I was looking at, just based on Joe Flacco's the starter. I think the first few weeks is going to have some very big games, but unfortunately, we've got a couple of greedy boys at the back end that are doubling up on tight ends. But that's just the price you pay. They see that some of us are missing tight end. Is it only me? Oh no, Trenner's missing a tight end.
There's 2 more teams.
So
you might get your boy Pitts in the end, mate.
Pitts, might come down the line, which will play well into the master plan, but you got to stay fluid. And Mike Andrews at 10-1, also very good value, especially with Isaiah Likely. I think that was another one in the injuries that we didn't really cover. That's still up in air if he's going to be ready to go for week 1. We haven't had really too much more news on Isaiah Likely, but if he misses time at any point of the start of the year, Mark Andrews, I mean, he's their number 1 target, really. Lamar loves favoring his guy there. Matt Stafford, we've got another team taking a third quarterback in Cam. So he's got CJ Stroud, Jordan Love to pair with Matt Stafford. and Tuhill. He had to, and this is Tuhill. He's got Sam Darnold as his QB2. Might have been a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but when you take all skill positions early, that's just kind of what you get left up with at the back end. So we'll see how this one plays out for him, and if those skill position players can help get him over the line.
It's all right. Sammy Boy's got a top 6 receiver, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll definitely help. It will definitely help there with big JSN safety blanket. What have we got here? 10th round. So after this round 2, we will be decreasing the timers to 30-second picks. So for everybody in the draft, just another reminder, 30-second picks once we get to the 10th round. And Mav, you'll have to switch that one over when we get to it. But with that being said, Mav, your 10th round pick, still a few picks away. You've got all your positions covered. I believe that's all your starting spots covered as well. Now, are you just swinging for the fences when it comes up to your next pick?
Yeah, sort of. I think I am. There's still some good value on the board, in my opinion. I'm looking particularly at the Indiana Colts receivers. Number 1 and number 2 are still on the board. And arguably, they've probably had an upgrade in Danny Dimes through the air compared to Anthony Richardson. So you'd expect the Colts receivers to get better this year. So who knows what that's going to look like. I mean, Pittman was once a star and now he's not. But, with Danny Dimes, at least he might have some opportunity. Look, you've got Cooper Kupp there. I'm not really too interested, but someone will be, obviously, by the name. Shakir is probably the number 1 there at the Bills, so tie him down there with Josh Allen's on a bad one. Again, he's probably not a sexy pick, but reliable, safe. You're not going to get 45 out of him in a game, but you're going to get a consistent 10 to 12, I reckon, out of Shakir, which is fine for bye weeks, injuries, whatever you need him for. I'll just sort of let it go. And look, Shakir's only 25, man. So there's still a bit of upside there with him. Maybe he does translate to an alpha number 1. Probably not, but maybe he finds an extra sort of peg in his game.
He's a very safe option, Khalil Shakir. You know what you're going to get. He's going to produce, especially if you need it in a pinch. And he goes very well if you pair him with a couple of high upside guys. In your Travis Hunters, the very volatile picks, Shakir could just kind of be a name in there that helps steady the ship with that one there. Javonte Williams at the 10-6. I feel, Mav, was Javonte, you're a Cowboys lover, in Javonte, the RB1 there, was he in any consideration for you?
I haven't taken a Dallas running back for a long time. I haven't taken one in this fantasy seasons yet, and won't. It's gross by every little bit. There goes Cooper Kupp. So, he's saw the name, bang, gone.
They both dropped off auto, so they're taking the full 90 and then getting an auto. So, I'm not sure about it. DFAB's got a list, so I think he does anyway, as a queue.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he might get stuck with a backup in San Francisco.
I'll tell you what, the form by DFAB, I don't know if with upcoming drafts, mate, DFAB is a criminal. 90-second pick time. He's just using all the clock, auto, and he's just very blasé. He's probably trying to honestly survive and trying to stay alive with the illness. So,
yeah.
But DFAB, if you are hearing this, mate, you're holding up the draft. Holding up the draft. It's not a good look.
Just click the auto. Just toggle over to auto and get back to the couch.
I'm very, very lucky that Mav is the commissioner of this league, because I think if I had controls, he could have copped a very early auto. But Mav looks like
he's still good. He's still good. I might give him one right here. I've got a button where I can let the CPU auto pick for him. Again, go down to his queue. But I'll give him just 16 seconds. He can let his. It's going back to 30 seconds after this round anyway. So I'm just going to let him just sort of time out, and then we'll get on with the last four rounds, I suppose. But yeah.
Oh, come on, dude.
Khalil Shakir. So the two names that you mentioned, Mav,
there you go.
And Gino. So third QB there for Trenner's team. Gino, that's probably the last, I guess, reliable guy. And that was very quick selection there, Mav. Josh Downs, the injured hamstring wide receiver, and Josh Downs over Michael Pittman. What was the reasoning between those guys for you?
Look, I think Josh Downs is an explosive wide receiver. So, like, he's got a hammy. I don't really need him for week 1. I don't really need him for week 2. Let him get healthy. Let him play. And then let him explode because he's only 24. So high upside.
Love it. And Secko, 10, 11, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm poaching you. Mav's poaching me. The Downs is on top of my list for the last 20 picks, and I always the way gets one away. I'm going to go with, I think it's a sneaky chance, injury aside, of getting the lead job, and it's Seattle running back Zach Charbonnet.
The carb on it.
Have I done it again, am I, mate?
Oh, that's perfect, Secko. That's just great because I have Kenneth Walker, and it's the only time where I'm going to take a handcuff because I think that Seattle running, their offense is going to be purely based around the run. So even if he could have standalone value, even if Kenneth Walker doesn't get injured, just with how much they want to run the ball. So yeah, good pick there, Secko. That's great. That's great, mate. Now I've just got to be stuck in the blender and just use up all this clock. Now I'll be pretty quick. One guy that also that I had queued up for ages, and I was hoping that will fall back to me in the tight end position. I know I don't need. There's only one other person that needs a tight end, but I have this guy pretty high above, and thanks to one of our very own Secko having him as my guy, Tucker Kraft, getting him at the 10-12. Very happy with getting that. I think he's got top 5 upside if the touchdowns come, and he showed last year that he's got that in his game. But looking now, I've got 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, tight end, all starting positions, all sorted. I've got 20 seconds. Great. I'm only looking at running back here. It's only running back for me. And with that being said, I will take Jordan Mason off the board at the 11-1 running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And Secko, will go straight to you, mate. 30-second timer. Who are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'm going upside. I'm going big. This is a guy who's going to be across the field from who I consider a top 3 receiver in the league. It's Jaden Higgins. If Stroud comes on, this guy could be huge.
Love it. Got to take your upside swings. It's the right point of the draft to do it. And those rookie wide receivers, they pay off in a big way. Mav, 11-3.
Cam Scatterbo. I'm going to take it this pick. We're talking upside. We're talking ability. Tyron Tracy's not locked by any stretch to be starting running back for the whole year. So I'm going to take someone in the 10th round who might see a bundle of carries as the season goes along. It might be a slow start. That's fine. No problem at all. I want him for potentially a playoff push or even a mid-season push to get me into playoffs if I'm on the fringe or whatever. So I'll take a guy who has that.
Love it. And his ADP definitely has been discounted, especially with the injuries. He was going, I think, in line with Tyron Tracy, but getting him about a round and a half behind him there. Yeah, it's good value. And you don't need him to start straight away, even if he's a little bit slow, doesn't have a lot of workload. 4 weeks in, that could shift. And now you've got him there on your bench ready to rock and roll. So after that, Jaden Reed, don't mind the value, nearly 3 rounds behind Matthew Golden there. Our own DFAB, autoed by Brian Robinson. I think this is good karma. This happening, him getting auto and stuck with Brian Robinson, who probably shouldn't have any value at all, really. If CMC stays healthy, you can't really see him getting too much work there in San Francisco. They only paid him only sent a 6th over to pick him up. J.K. Dobbins at the 11-6. Michael Pittman going just a half a round behind Josh Downs there, so also a good spot. Joseph is about to get autoed. Keon Coleman, good pick. Definitely had him in queue.
Good auto.
Yeah, good auto to have. So we're inching nearly final 3 rounds to go. Let's have a look at our teams here and see how they're looking. We're kind of on the same path. We've got a lot more running backs than anything else between us 3 here. So See how the final three play out. Another auto coming through. Dallas Goddard. So another second tight end, pairing him with Brock Bowers. Curious to see if that was actually in queue or not.
It would have been.
Yeah, it would have been a queue. Doesn't look like it was the main ADP.
Does he not have a? Oh, he has Bowers. Okay,
He's got Bowers there, yeah. So definitely going to be a bench spot in case of injury. Toohill, a little Toohill here. Trey Harris. So it could be an interesting one. I know with Keenan Allen there, definitely buried from where he was going. But then again, Keenan Allen is 32. What's to say he's going to stay healthy? He hasn't been in any training camp at all. He'll get the last week or so here before the season starts. But shooting for upside there, Najee Harris at the 11-11, making Cam. It's his third running back there, so he just needed to get some bodies there. And Rodriguez, we'll see what position he's going to go. He likes to do it in numbers. And also, guys, just a couple of comments in the chat. We'll in regards to any other draft leagues going on, stay tuned. We do have everything at the moment is all filled out, but we may look at opening up an extra league in the near future. And it probably will be a quick draft league as well, similar to what's going on tonight, just to get it all knocked out of the way. We're getting a little too close to comfort to run a slow draft at this point of the year. So, yeah, stay tuned. We will have some more news on that probably within the next couple of days of how you can get involved and when we'll be looking to draft another live league. So, to close out the 11th, I'll recap. Starting off with myself, Jordan Mason, Jaden Higgins, Cam Scatterbo, Jaden Reed, Brian Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Michael Pittman, Keon Coleman, Dallas Goddard, Trey Harris, Najee Harris, Rashid Shaheed, and then Bill, the hotness, which is Bill or Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera at the 12-1. Honestly, pretty good value if he is that clear number one guy ahead of Chris Rodriguez, and it's not a three-way monster there. Could be good value there at the 12-1, and then a little bit of a running back run, Ramondre Stevenson and Trey Benson. Good pick there. Toohill just to throw out. Don't mind Trey in that spot, but the running backs are flying, guys. Matt, Money Mav, do you have running back in your sight, or are you looking to pivot after this run is gone?
I was thinking that Bill might get to me. To be honest, I had a sneaky feeling that he was going to get there, and I was going to take him at the 12. I was just like, probably should have taken him where Cam Scatterbo got picked, but whatever. But yeah, it looks like might be a running back round in round 12. The way it's going. Look, I'm actually thinking about taking another tight end, and that could be Kyle Pitts. Wouldn't that be funny?
You dirty dog.
Yeah. But there's a few running backs there that I really didn't expect. Wouldn't have been picked yet. Like Dylan Sampson's actually not a bad pick either. Yeah, Tank Bigsby, like Trey Benson, they're all my sites. There goes Kyle Pitts. I can't even do it if I wanted to.
And also, it lights up. First tight end for him. That's a great value behind Dalton Kincaid as well.
It's great.
All right, boys, I'm going to take another risk. Let's say that Bill's not starting running back.
Took him.
I love it.
No.
Even better if Secko wanted him. That's perfect.
I did, and you've got the first and second running backs for that good offense as well. Oh, yeah,
I do have Debo. Forgot about that. Jeez, I'm stacked.
Yeah, I wish you had it. I probably should have yelled it out here. All right, I'm going to go with the guy who's coming very, very quickly to being not injured anymore. It's Darnell Mooney.
Very, very quickly, what's the insight there, DFAB, while I run out this clock? Darnell Mooney, because last I heard, missing a couple of weeks with shoulder. Has there been any new reports on when he's expected to come back onto the field?
No, I did hear something that he is scheduled to train this week. So whether that's the case or not, we're still 2 weeks away from playing. I've got him in the 12th round. If he sits for 3 or 4 weeks to get fit, that's what I want.
Dude.
Yep.
Would you get timed out? Sorry.
No, I had a queue set, so I was happy just to let it run through.
Good.
Braylon Allen, I will jump on the running back shenanigans and lock up that guy there. I think he's got some pretty good upside, especially based off the bad vibes going towards Breece Hall. Looking here, do I take another running back? That is the question. or do I want to take a wide receiver with a whole lot of upside? And I think I will. First time taking this guy, Luther Burden for the Chicago Bears. If somehow DJ Moore kind of finds a new home, maybe at some point throughout the year, I feel like he's the odd man out. Hopefully Luther Burden can step into some sort of a role. But if not, he'll be off my team after the first couple of weeks. But Secko, 13th round pick here, 10 seconds left on the clock.
Upside again. I've already got Jacoby. If he doesn't do it, this guy will. Dante Thornton. He's locked in as the second receiver for the Raiders. So any tip for Bowers and I win.
Yeah, big upsides there. Mav, something out of the box
Keenan
or
Allen, boys?
Keenan Allen?
Yeah, I've taken two guys who probably should be in a wheelchair at my last team.
Any other ex-Chargers guys you want to get, like Antonio Gates, get him out of retirement as well? Old ex-Chargers?
No. Gus Edwards, maybe.
Gus.
But no, I'm happy with that. The last second round pick. I'm not really like looking for a guy who's going to
You're right.
take me to promised land. But he could have a really good offense, a really good role in the offense. So I'm not certain that Trey Harris is number 2. It could be Ken Allen.
And I like the fit. Just going back, Travis Hunter again, very big upside. We don't really know. Could he be great? Could he be not so great? We know Keenan Allen. He's going to be very tried and true and be able to get some points for you. So yeah, not bad there. Not bad there at all. Marvin Mims following your selection of Keenan Allen there, Mav. Then Jadon Blue, autoed by DFAB. Definitely, I don't think he was the first ADP, so maybe that was in his queue. And then Jake Ferg going at 13-6. James Drury. Jonnu Smith, I believe that was the first auto. He was first up in ADP, or perhaps he was first up in his queue as well. Joseph, 20 seconds to go as we wind out the final rounds of this draft here. And yeah, things are really drying up. This is where we dig deep. Ollie Gordon, great pick. Just quietly, great pick, and Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, I had him
probably somebody else.
Yeah, probably. Case, if he was there,
you wouldn't have got him.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I should have taken him at the 13-1. Honestly, it completely slipped my mind. Looking at Ollie Gordon would have paired lovely with Chan, but Christian Kirk, Kyle Williams, big upside swing there from the young Hill. Hollywood Brown, 13-11. I believe is currently dealing with some injuries, so he might not see the start of the season, but we do still have a couple of weeks to go. And Rodriguez to close us out in the 13th before leading off into the 14th. Aaron Rodgers taking his QB3, so we might see some remaining QB3s in this round. Danny Dimes is lurking around and ready there for the taking. Isaiah Likely, pairing Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, so he's keeping the Baltimore tight end room together. Just can't have them apart. They're a package deal. Oh, what do we have here? Can't start them both. You can't. And Anthony Richardson, 4 quarterbacks. Very greedy there, Cam. Very, very greedy. Taking 4 there. Trying to send a message to the guys up the front end of the draft. And we hear you loud and clear. Mav, we're inching closer to your last pick. Still about 7 or 8 to go. Give us a name, Mav. Me and Secko, we can't take him. I hope there's only a couple of people listening. I think all of them are listening that are drafting, but just act as if they aren't. Just give us something. If it goes, so be it.
Look, it's gonna be Jerome Ford, boys. If I can get him. So if it's only queue, get rid of him. He could be a starting running back. Might not be. It's gonna carve a role, and if not, it's gonna be another Cleveland Brown, Cedric Tillman. Big on him.
Oh, 2 days. So, very generous, Mav.
Yeah, I'll give you 2.
What other names do I have to scrub off?
That's probably about it.
Jerome's a good pick. Jerome's the one. He might not make it to you. It might be autoed. I don't know what the queue's like.
We'll see. We'll see. It's not. He's not a guy that I'd be crying over if I don't get him.
No.
You know, I've had 15 or 14 chances to get Jerome Ford if that's why I really wanted to pick. But, anyway. Tajay Spears.
Good value at the 14-8.
DFAB's been playing a pretty pretty rough hand late in the draft, though.
Yeah.
He does like Kincaid, though, so he's secure. Right. If you're not taking Tillman, I'm taking Tillman. Why not?
I like it.
Great. So you guys taking Ford, Tillman.
Mate, you got so many options available.
I do. I've
so many players.
And it's good because it's last spot of my team. I want to take just straight upside, and if he's not what I'm hoping the first couple of weeks of the year, he'll be gone. So with that being said, I will be taking a running back, and that will be Kyle Monongai for the Chicago Bears, just in hopes that, who knows, maybe he's going to be starting at the gates. But there we have it. There is our SuperFlex real cash league draft. This is one of the Insight ones. Thanks everybody for tuning in and also in participating. It is fun running these live drafts, especially on a timer. I know it definitely gets me thinking and sitting in a blender, but we will have another one of these this Thursday, but with all the Insight creators, as mentioned at the start of the show. So that's going to be a real fun one. I'm sure we'll have a couple of cameos pop up during the stream as well of guys that are going to be picking, but that's the lay of the land there. That's the draft. I will post the results in a couple of days' time. Once we move on. But Mav, mate, your team here, besides saying how stacked it is, what else do you have to say about your squad?
I don't know how deep it is. I liked how that sort of draft came to me there. I've got a bit of mix of youth and a bit of age as well, so a bit of both. Obviously Derrick Henry's not young by any stretch, neither is Austin Eckler or Keenan Allen, but Travis Hunter and James Cook. I suppose Jamar Chase is still sort of classified as young. I think it's got a good little mix there, and I think there's a lot of potential for this team to score really well on any given week. It's got really high upside. With some players, they can win you matchups in themselves. So. Liking my squad, and I'm hoping the guys like Cam Scatterbo or Josh Downs or guys like that can sort of break out along the way and turn into maybe a startable player down the stretch.
And before throwing it to you, Secko, Mav, with that being said, is there any pick that you wish you had over out of this one here? And I'll actually highlight it. This is your range here. Any ones that you wish you didn't take, or were you just on the money straight out the gate?
Look, Fields is probably the one that gives me the biggest heebie-jeebies. He's probably the biggest player in the league at the moment. That's giving me the biggest heebie-jeebies. There's a lot of negative energy around him at the moment. Everyone's seen the highlights of him just throwing absolute pies in practice and missing players by quite a bit for what seems like a very easy pass. With no pressure. But at the same time, I can only base it off the games he's been playing in the NFL. Practice is one thing that doesn't, it's not massive. It's not the end of the world. Everyone has bad practice sessions along the way, but this guy has played NFL before. It's not like he hasn't played. So, he's had some good starts, and look, he might not be a franchise winning player for a squad, but he might be a fantasy player for your team. So when he's played, he's been pretty good. He'll probably outplay his ADP on this current draft board. But he could be a disaster as well. But you just never know. That's probably the pick that you sort of gives you the biggest heebie-jeebies.
Love it. And Secko, overall thoughts here, mate, on your team and how it played out. And again, following up with the same thing, if there was anything that you could change, what would it be?
Team overall, I love getting Chase Brown late in the second. As I said, he's been one of my biggest risers. And going wide receiver late actually worked out okay for me. Would have liked to have gotten Waddle when you stole him from me and punted quarterback further. But yeah, there was probably the one regret I would say is probably Bryce Young. I sort of panicked there, and then no one took a tight end. I took a quarterback for a long time. I saw the sort of the previous round as a bit of a wake up call, and I really thought that everyone would be gone. I'd be left with with Darnold or Stafford or someone like that. So in hindsight, I'd like to have him back, and I can see Travis Hunter sitting there right after him, and I'd love to have him in my team. and then Bryce Young where Jacoby is if things went out that way. But I think it's pretty balanced. And favorite part's the upside at the end as well, with a few of those speculative youth guys, and Higgins and Thornton could be anything, or could be cut in week 2.
Love it. I think George Kittle, looking at it, I love that 411. I think that value is just too good on George Kittle, even though it isn't tight end premium. It's a good spot. And following up, just before we close this out, looking at mine, I do like Devon Achane and Bucky Irving, that 1-2 punch in running back, even though the injury scare, of course, with Achane. But I mean, if he's healthy straight at the gate, I think that's a massive value. And the one thing that if I could have it back, probably instead of taking Luther Burden, I probably should have taken Jerome Ford or Ollie Gordon. That probably just kind of shoring that up. But take the upside there. Don't mind the way that it's played out. But that's really it there, guys. So, following it all up, that is our SuperFLEX Real Cash League Draft live 90-second pick timers. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you would change anything in this spot. And if you are keen to get involved in one of these leagues, we will open one more up, and it will be a fast draft, probably sometime even later on this week or early next week. So stay tuned. If you are keen, let us know. And we will be back tomorrow night, main man Maverick and myself, with my team reveal. So we'll be jumping over, putting our SuperCoach NFL hats on. So if you are keen on that one, stay tuned tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. All right, gents, that'll do us for tonight. It is the Insight NFL show. I'm Mullin, and for Mav and Secko, we will see you guys tomorrow.
Ciao.